My sisters and brothers, you see, there's something we all chase in this life, something we're convinced will finally make everything right. For some, it's wealth. For others, it's recognition, status, or even relationships. We tell ourselves that once I get that job, once I move into that house, once they notice me, once I have everything I've ever wanted, then I'll feel peace. Then I'll feel whole. But have you ever met someone who seemingly has it all and still feels empty? It's more common than you think. Because the truth is, peace doesn't come from possessions. It doesn't come from ticking off every box on your goals list. It doesn't even come from being admired or applauded. It comes from knowing why you're here. It comes from living with purpose. You will never have everything. That's a fact. There will always be something missing, always someone who has more, always something else to achieve. And if your peace is tied to the illusion of having it all, then peace will always stay just out of reach. No matter how fast you run, it's like chasing the horizon. No matter how far you go, it keeps moving. But the moment you shift your focus from what you don't have to why you're here, something changes. You no longer move through life measuring your worth by your possessions, your bank account, your followers, or the admiration of others. You start to live meaningfully, not materialistically. And that shift is where true, unshakable peace begins. Think about it. Some of the most fulfilled people in the world don't have much by worldly standards, yet their hearts are calm. Their smiles are genuine, their nights are restful. Why? Because they've found their purpose. They know what they're living for. And even when their hands are empty, their hearts are full. On the other hand, you could be surrounded by every luxury and still feel completely lost. Because when you don't know your why, nothing you gain will feel like it's enough. Many people spend their entire lives climbing ladders, only to realize they were leaning against the wrong walls. They accumulate wealth, build reputations, earn titles, but then they look around and feel lonely, tired, disconnected from themselves and others. Why? Because they were chasing a version of success that wasn't even rooted in their purpose. When you chase what society celebrates instead of what your soul was made for, you may gain the world but lose yourself along the way. That's not peace. That's a slow unraveling of the spirit. Living with purpose doesn't mean your life becomes easy, but it does become clear. You start making decisions not just based on profit, but on principle. You begin to measure time not just by how busy you are, but by how intentional you are. Even when life throws hardship your way, and it will, you can stand firm because you're anchored to something deeper than circumstances. Purpose gives you direction when everything around you is uncertain. It becomes your internal compass. And peace naturally flows from that sense of direction. Ismail ibn Musa Menk is giving speech and he shares a powerful reflection. He says that one of the greatest sources of anxiety today is comparison. We look at people on screens in our communities, even in our families, and we assume they have everything. And we start thinking, why not me? But what we're seeing is only the surface. We don't see the inner struggles, the sleepless nights, the wounds they carry. And we forget that having everything doesn't mean having peace. In fact, sometimes the people who look like they have the most are the ones who cry the hardest in silence. When you live with purpose, you stop comparing. Because you realize that your journey was never meant to look like theirs. Your story was written for you. Your challenges, your blessings, your pace, it's all part of a divine design. And when you embrace that, your soul exhales. You stop fighting the current and start flowing with grace. You might not have everything, but you begin to feel everything that matters. Contentment, clarity, gratitude, peace also gives pain a place. When you don't know your purpose, every difficulty feels like punishment. But when you're connected to something greater, you begin to see trials as part of your shaping. You see setbacks as setups for something better. You understand that even the things you don't want might be guiding you toward the person you're meant to become. And that shift in perspective can be the very thing that brings light into your darkest hours, not because the pain disappears, but because it begins to make sense. Let's take a moment and ask ourselves, what is my purpose? Not the job title, not the role, not the to-do list. But at the core of my existence, why am I here? What lights up my soul when I do it? What makes me forget the time? What brings healing to others when I offer it? What aligns with my faith, my values, my deepest sense of truth? The answers may not come instantly, But once they do, they will become the foundation of your peace. You don't have to be extraordinary to live with purpose. You don't need a platform, a following, or a perfect life. All you need is sincerity. Purpose is often quiet. It shows up in how you treat others, how you endure hardship, how you speak truth when it's hard, how you give even when you're tired. And when you start living like that, peace begins to live in you. It's time to stop chasing the illusion of everything, because that pursuit is exhausting. You can waste your whole life running after things that were never meant to complete you. But if you slow down, look inward, and start living with intention, you will find something better than everything. You'll find peace. A kind of peace that isn't shaken by storms or stolen by losses. A peace that comes from living with purpose. You will never have everything. But if you have purpose, you already have the best part of life. And with it comes the kind of peace that no money, no title, no recognition can ever give. Let that be enough.